Hey, I'm Jennifer Houle, and this is Roast the Post, the story behind the bullet points. So this week I am the host of Roast the Post, and Paul has not seen the job ad that I have selected. So this is going to be all brand new information. And I mentioned on Substack earlier that I messaged Paul ahead of time saying that I was really excited for this one. And I also have to say that I don't know if anyone's familiar with the show It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but if you are and you know that scene where Charlie is doing his whole conspiracy theory thing, with like all the mapping out and like the red thread everywhere. That's what I was doing right up until we went live. I went deep on this one, and I'm a little bit like still, my head is still swirling around, but I'm really proud of my sleuthing work that I was able to do. We don't name and shame, so we're not going to name the company, but I figured out the company because this one is actually posted by a third-party recruiter on behalf of their client. And so in that situation, you don't really have a lot of information, but boy, did I go for it. I found the information. So, I mean, to do what with? No idea. I just wanted to know, and now I do. So.
My interest is absolutely piqued.
And I'm in a bit of a state right now. So what we do at the top of the show is our sizzle reel, really about what this episode is going to be about. So I'm going to go ahead and read what it is that I wrote to kind of warm us up and get us ready, the right state of mind. So this week on Roast the Post, a wealth management firm is hiring a director of first impressions. If you think, based on the job title, that this is a leadership position, then your first impression is wrong. So proud. This job posting has a couple of cringe-worthy faux pas, including the dreaded work hard, play hard trope that I thought died in 2019. Did we accidentally travel back in time to when foosball tables, beer kegs, and forced socialization counted as competitive benefits packages? Is this job ad one of the most subtly problematic ones we've ever seen? Let's find out when we roast this post. How was that, Paul?
It was pretty good. I feel like we're going to have some things to say about this one already. The DFI title, Director of First Impressions, gives me the ick. I don't like it. I thought that it died a long time ago, but here we are.
Okay, so based then, let's talk about that for a second before we go into the roasty profile. Based on that title alone, and again, Paul knows nothing else about this job posting. What do you think the role is? Like in an alternative title to this role?
Yeah, I should probably put active effort in my brain right now, press the buttons to try and balance out my own bias. Early in my career, I worked in an organization that hired a director of first impressions, and it just a fancy way of saying receptionist. And when they were hiring that person, it was an ad agency, and they very, very consciously looked for a young, fit, attractive woman for the role.
Stop.
And then
You're ruining it.
Okay, so my bias was kind of on point.
I would say, Paul, you are on point. This 100% everything you're saying is correct. And so now we know why that title gives you the ick. So
it made me feel grody back then, and I thought that it was a thing of the past, but here we are. So let's go.
It's super grody. And a couple of seeds I want to plant in people's heads as we go through this is, remember, this is written by and in the process is being run by a third-party recruitment agency. And I even found the agency, how like their headcount, everything. Like it's a firm of 3 women. And so they're the ones who have written this post. So that's why, to me, it's also very like mind-blowing. But let's get into it. I'll go into the
that's roast. Another layer.
That's another layer. It's quite complex. So roasty profile. The job title is Director of First Impressions. The report to title is unknown. The company size, I had unknown, but I am pretty confident saying it's about 6 employees based on some of the research that I've done and some of the things that it mentions in the job ad. The industry is wealth management. What do? They're a wealth management firm overseeing approximately $300 million in AUM, which is assets under management. The head office location is Indian Wells, California. That is the job location as well. The geographical operating area is unknown, but we can assume United States of America. The job type is full-time in office. And again, this is posted by a recruitment firm. Are we ready to roast this post? Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
So sometimes when the postings are really long, Paul and I will just highlight areas that we want to focus on. But this one is one of the rare job ads where we're going to read through the whole thing. We're going to take quite a few pauses to dissect some stuff. So bear with us because there's a lot to get to here. It starts with about the opportunity. Our client is a fast-growing wealth management firm overseeing approximately $300 million in assets under management and is looking to add a director of first impressions to their team. Over the past several years, the firm has continued to grow steadily, leading to the need to expand the team and add additional support within the office. This position is being created as the current individual in the role transitions into taking on increased responsibilities within the firm's marketing and events department after proving herself as a valuable member of the organization. This opportunity is ideal for someone looking to build a long-term career within a growing firm rather than simply finding another administrative position. Our client strongly believes in promoting from within and creating opportunities for team members to grow as the organization continues to expand. And I would like to stop there because to me, there were several things to flag, and I'm not sure if they stood out to you or not. I think they did for listeners. What are your thoughts on that first opening?
Yeah, some interesting stuff in there. So this being a staff of, let's say, 1 to 10 people, but there being 300 million assets under management, that's not crazy. That's not uncommon in this space. Like assets under management doesn't mean profit or revenues or anything. Like if you're a wealth manager, typically you're taking somewhere between 3/4 of a percentage point and 1.5% on trading transactions. So if something goes through valued at $10,000, you take a cut of that, and that's like your management fee. So $300 million, if they turned over the entire value of their AUM and trades, they'd be doing I don't know, somewhere between 2.5 million and maybe 4 million in revenue. So that's kind of how we have to look at the business. So 4 million in revenue, 10 employees, it's pretty good. That's fairly healthy. That explains why they are, I think, partly investing in expansion, putting more staff in place. I found it interesting that they mentioned in the job ad that the incumbent, the person who's in the role, has been promoted and they're taking on a role in another department. That's interesting. You don't often see that in job ads, but 10-person company, maybe they want to communicate that there are opportunities. At the same time, as a candidate, I kind of have some questions. This is a 10-person company. What opportunities actually exist for me, right? If I'm coming in as a new DFI into this role. So that was kind of interesting. My spidey sense goes off a little bit there. I wonder how genuine that is, and saying that the owners believe in that versus their capability to actually do it. Those are two different things off the hopper. That's really all that stood out for me, but I feel like you have some comments on that part, so I'm interested to hear them.
I do, yeah, and it has been flagged in our chat as well. The thing that stood out to me was that they mention the current individual in the role transitions to taking increased responsibility after proving herself as a valuable member of the organization. Why would they mention herself? You just need to say, after demonstrating strong performance. That's all you need to say. Like the company just casually drops that the incumbent was female. And I think that we need to pay attention. You mentioned it right off the bat, right? Like, I think we need to mention or pay attention to what we're going to see as a very gender coded job posting. Very, very much so. Whether they realize it or not. And I because it's a talent firm, I feel like they must realize it. They're signaling something, and they're signaling it hard throughout the job posting. And I don't like that. I think it's completely unnecessary. So pay attention to the rest of the job posting as we go through it. Another thing that they say is this opportunity is ideal for someone looking to build a long-term career within a growing firm rather than simply finding another administrative position. Okay, but is it not? Right? And what's wrong with administrative positions? If administrative work is valuable, then why not?
But in this industry, it's not. Administrative
Right?
work is not valued in this industry. This industry historically has been very, very male-dominated. Capital markets, right? Very, very male-dominated.
Yeah.
Very sexist.
Yeah.
And the people, and even, you take gender kind of out of the equation and look at who's bringing in the money in this industry, specifically in like wealth management for high net worth individuals. It's people who are going out and doing the sales. It's your account managers, it's your AEs, it's those folks, it's the people who are generating like the new accounts coming in that you can take a piece off the top for your management fees or whatever. The people who run the business aren't really valued because they don't contribute to those big numbers that come in historically. I would like to think that the industry has changed a little bit in the last 30 years, and there are more, let's call them not asshole firms out there, and they do value the work that happens underneath and behind the scenes a little bit more, but historically not so much. So I get why, they're kind of tacitly devaluing administrative work through the way they've structured this job post. It's just how the industry's been.
But be the change you want to see. I guess the questions I have are, why are we so uncomfortable calling administrative work what it is? And why does this role need a leadership sounding title to be attractive?
Yeah, I always wondered that. And the reason that you take a receptionist type role and slap a DFI, Director of First Impressions title on it is because you want it to sound more appealing. You want it to have more status attached to it so that you get more people kind of applying to it. Whereas if you put DFI on your resume, it would do nothing for you. It wouldn't be taken as a director level role when you went to apply for a job somewhere else. It would be like, okay, fancy word for receptionist.
Well, and this is where we get into title inflation. I'm all for people getting a title that will help them advance in their careers, but there are also a lot of cons to that for the candidate themselves. And we'll get into that, but this is just this is the first paragraph of
yeah. I don't like title inflation because it hurts the people who get that inflated title more than it helps. Now, if the inflated title comes along with support and training and mentorship to kind of guide you in that direction, awesome. But if you give this person a director level title and then they go into the job market expecting to be able to compete for director level jobs and not knowing that they can't, it's not good. They did that person a disservice by giving them that inflated title.
I will say though, I do appreciate that they give a bit of an origin story as to the role and this is why we're hiring, this is what happens. I appreciate that. We ask for that a lot. Is this an existing role? Is this net new? Why now? Why do you need this role? So I appreciate that. I think it's just done badly. I was trying to think of a polite way to say it. It's just badly done. So.
Highlighting that pathway that this person has gone from, the incumbent has gone from being a DFI into a position in their marketing and events department. That's actually good. A lot of people who start their careers in kind of those types of roles, they're looking to get into marketing, events, communications. At least, here in Ontario, that's a really, really common pathway for people who are starting their career and kind of wanting to get into that space.
Let me tell you something then, because remember at the top, I said I did all this like detective and sleuthing work. And so I figured out the company that is hiring for this role.
Yep.
And then I found the incumbent. And it says that she's moved into marketing. Guess what her title is?
Coordinator of some kind, like
Director
events
of
coordinator,
Director
director of
of
marketing.
marketing.
Wow. Okay.
This is what we're talking about with the inflation. This is like a 6-person company. And so she has moved from director of first impressions to director of marketing. Why can't she, right? Like it's very interesting. It's that whole title inflation thing. It makes me think maybe they don't pay very well, but we'll give you a really good title. That's what happened to me in my career once upon a time. And I was like sold on that. I'm like, oh, cool. Okay, well, you can't afford to give me much money, but I get this big fancy title that I've never had before. And it ended up being pretty meaningless.
And then later you realize that it doesn't do anything for you. So like,
and if anything, it makes it harder to find a job. Like the higher up you get, the harder it is, because those vacancies you don't see them come up as often. And so yeah, you're really shooting yourself in the foot there. But let's move on. We're going to talk about why this opportunity stands out. This role offers direct exposure to client service, advisor support, operations, seminar events, and marketing initiatives, creating a strong foundation for future advancement opportunities within the organization. The individual currently in this position has earned the opportunity to transition into a larger role focused on marketing and events within the firm, highlighting the company's commitment to internal growth and development. This is an opportunity to join a firm where strong performance, initiative, and a positive attitude are recognized and rewarded. The organization is looking for someone who wants to build a career alongside a growing team and become an important part of the firm's long-term success. I'm going to go straight into what we're looking for. That's the next section, and then we can recap. What we're looking for: the responsibilities listed below are not exhausted. Given the fast-moving nature of this work, the responsibilities set out below may change, and additional duties may be assigned as needed. The ideal candidate is organized, outgoing, detail-oriented, and thrives in a fast-paced office environment. They are looking, and they mean the client, they are looking for someone with a bubbly and professional personality who naturally enjoys working with people and creating positive client experience. The right individual will be highly organized and dependable, take ownership of responsibilities and projects, communicate professionally and confidently, thrive in a collaborative team environment, be proactive and self-motivated, and handle multiple priorities without needing micromanagement. And scene. So let's stop there and talk about that a little bit. Anything stood out for you here? And again, we covered why this opportunity stands out, what we're looking for.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that on their surface sound good. But my bullshit detector is highly engaged with this. Where they say the person who is in this role has earned a promotion. I mean, that sounds nice. It makes it sound like, okay, we're a meritocracy and we reward effort, and we reward capability and competence and whatever, and we will create roles for people who I would suspect kind of kill themselves a little bit in a job to prove themselves. Like they use that word too, like prove herself or something, which is kind of weird to me. The gendering of it, I don't like that. You know, it makes it sound like this is an environment where you can succeed based on your own ambitions, but in reality what's happening is they're avoiding going to the market for someone who has external experience and competence in this area and hiring them in. I don't want to pigeonhole this person who was in this role and moved into the new role, but I'd have some questions about the effectiveness of someone who was like a receptionist, if they were, quite young, just out of college or university or whatever, going from that into marketing a financial services company. And she's probably the only person who is in marketing at that organization, unless there's like an intern or something hanging around. I don't know how well that's going to work. So it sounds like a good story, but I don't think it's the best move that they could have made if they're trying to build a business and actually grow it. So yeah, that troubles me a little bit. They also said what they want is someone who is bubbly and professional. Those two things, like, aren't they kind of, at odds? Aren't they different things? Like bubbly, friendly, whatever. Yeah, it's kind of a nice characteristic to have, but then like professional and able to handle clients and whatnot, like those two words together, and perhaps this is my own bias based on my experiences, but those two words together just kind of suggest to me that they are looking for someone who is young and attractive to come into this role. I really don't like that. That devalues like your capacity to contribute based on your skills and abilities, which I really don't like. This I don't like this so far. They are talking about growing their team. They are talking about hiring to scale up. Okay, fine. Telling that story a little bit, sure. But I don't see any evidence so far that they're doing that in a way that makes a whole lot of sense. But, again, we're kind of filling in some blanks and making assumptions and guesses at this stage with this organization. So maybe I'm just being a hater.
That's what we do on this show. That's the whole premise of the show. I will say that and this is just, I'm speaking for myself, I have never heard a man being described as bubbly. Never.
No,
so again, we go into, and this is a thing, there is gender coded language. So again, we go into that. I don't think the company is actually looking for someone bubbly. I think they're looking for someone who can make clients feel welcome. But the problem is they're not the same thing. Like you mentioned that. One is a business outcome. The other is a personality preference. So if the requirement is that someone creates a positive first impression, then just say that. Like say hospitable.
We want someone who has the capacity to be hospitable and create a welcoming environment for our clients and prospects when they come in. That would be completely valid, and that wouldn't be gender coded or biased in any way. And ultimately, if that's what you want, then say that.
And like once you start describing personalities instead of people's capabilities, like what is it that you're looking for then? Because that's going to make, they say that they promote people internally and like you said, like you're going to get rewarded for your performance, but you're listing personality traits.
Yeah.
And so how then are you measuring that when you're talking about personality traits versus competencies and capabilities? I get that this is a lower barrier to entry job. I get it. But at the same time, it seems this doesn't seem like a smart way to approach hiring this role. Like, what's more important to you, a bubbly personality or, somebody who has demonstrated experience doing X, Y, and Z? So very, very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, this the fundamental business need that they're kind of trying to communicate there is that they need someone who has the capacity to, again, create that welcoming environment for prospects who come in, because you absolutely don't want someone, kind of running your lobby, sitting behind the front desk, being an assistant or whatever, who, when somebody with a lot of money walks through the door for an appointment, they kind of get growled at and,
or
kind
give
of
the
like,
Gen Z stare.
Why are you bothering me? I don't need to get your coffee. There's a Starbucks down the road. Of course, you don't want that. You really don't want that. Like, if someone's going to potentially like drop $100 million in your lap to invest, roll out the red carpet. But the way that they're going about communicating that is, quite frankly, like old-fashioned and sexist.
Yeah, it ain't good. Okay. Let's go into what you'll do. That's the next section. We're going to cover a couple of things here. We'll do what you'll do and maybe what success looks like. What you'll do: answer incoming calls using a live answer approach, manage multiple advisor calendars and coordinate client review meetings, handle high volume calls and emails throughout the day, welcome and assist clients visiting the office, triage client communication to advisors, operations, and service team members, complete administrative and database projects during downtime, support seminar events and client workshops, assist with outreach, calling, and event preparation, reset and organize conference rooms following meetings, serve as the first point of contact for all client interactions. Maybe we can go into what success looks like because it's pretty short, and then we'll stop there. Successful individuals in this role are highly responsive and organized, comfortable multitasking in a fast-paced environment, dependable and able to work independently, positive and energetic in client interactions, team-oriented and willing to help wherever needed, able to create a welcoming and professional office atmosphere. And let's stop there.
See, that's valid. You know, saying create a welcoming and professional office atmosphere. Yeah, that is valid. That's a great way to describe what you're looking for in that particular like client service space. It's better than bubbly and professional. My God, I kind of got stuck on the bullet point that said take calls on, what was the first bullet point? Take calls in a live something?
Using a live answer approach. Does that just mean
do they mean answer the fucking phone?
Answer the phone. What? That's what I thought too. And then I was like, is this a system that I'm not aware of that exists? It says answer incoming calls using a live answer approach. And maybe we're wrong. Maybe some listeners and watchers are like, oh no, this is like a thing. But like, I read that as, you mean answer the phone?
Yeah, that's how it reads to me. And if this person, just trying to set aside my feelings about this right now, if this role, if they really truly do want to create, and I think they do, they're just communicating it very poorly. If they really truly do want to create a welcoming environment for people who come in, that's also about the phone, right? And that becomes even more important if your DFI or your front desk person is connected to the sales process. And I would hope that they have at least some sort of system where there's some training, there's some operational like point of contact or connection or whatever, where the person who's answering the phone in that live answer setting is maybe doing some qualification of like inbound leads on the phone or something. So I get why that is kind of important in that backdrop, but I'm still stuck on the whole live answer thing. It's like, you're saying you need to be able to answer the phone. Cool.
Bizarre. Like, I appreciate that they're actually listing, like they're naming the actual work that you'll be doing, because sometimes that doesn't happen. Like, we've gone through so many job ads and we're like, okay, but
Yep.
what are the
What's it
day-to-day?
mean?
Yeah, and some job ads will say day-to-day activities, and then they actually don't list the day-to-day activities either. And so I'll give them points, I guess, for that. But they're talking about positive and energetic and things like that, where to me they're describing personality traits instead of like actual competencies. So again, and the reason why I'm so stuck on this is because the heading says what success looks like. So success looks like your personality. Again, how are you measuring performance then when you say it's a culture where you're like promoting people from within based on like extra bubbly, right? Like, I don't know, do they have a rubric that's like measuring?
That's going to be on your performance review every year.
Effervescence?
Levels of bubbliness.
Well, this is why I messaged you ahead of time and said I was excited for this one, because it is it's again, remember that this is written by a recruitment firm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's go into qualifications. Prior office or administrative experience required, medical or legal office experience preferred, strong calendar management and scheduling experience, excellent communication and client service skills, ability to multitask and prioritize effectively, strong organizational and project management abilities, comfortable learning and using CRM technology, red tail.
Mm.
This position is ideal for someone who, I just need to take a moment before I read this next line. I'm sorry, I'm building it up. It's worth it. This position is ideal for someone who enjoys working in a younger, energetic office environment, wants long-term career growth within an expanding organization, enjoys balancing client interaction with administrative responsibilities, takes initiatives and works well independently, wants to be part of a high-energy, team-oriented culture. We got an oh my God in the comments. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's what's going on in my brain. Okay, so now alongside like gender coding, we have age coding. That's basically saying like don't bother applying if you're, you know, over 35.
No oldies.
That's how, yeah, no oldies. Like, Jen, we can't apply. Like, oh darn.
Ouch. Yeah.
Some interesting things that stood out for me in there. So they say prior experience required. Yeah, fair. Medical or legal, but they didn't say finance. That was interesting. And structurally, they are similar. They are similar. Like working in a medical practice as someone who's managing front desk, or a legal practice. Yeah, there are a lot of similarities. But why wouldn't you look for someone who has experience doing that in your industry? Those people do exist. It's not a unicorn. And particularly, and these kind of things kind of lock together for me a little bit. Why aren't you looking for someone with finance industry experience when you are also saying that you should have project management experience? And to kind of tie back to my earlier comment on the sales process, the sales funnel, you have experience using Redtail CRM. That right there does signal to me that the person who's behind the front desk is expected to be a part of the sales funnel. So if you want them to be a part of the sales funnel, why aren't you looking for someone who has done that before in your industry? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. That's a weird disconnect, which I am going to throw something out right now. Makes me think that they are going to underpay, or the offer is going to be very, very, very poor.
I'm trying to do a poker face for you right now. I also think so I'm trying to think again, what you mentioned, why medical, legal, why not financial? I'm wondering if there's a certain kind of like volume or something that they're interested in somebody having experience in. They also don't mention any kind of like events, management, I guess. No, they don't. They really don't have like events management experience.
It's the new marketing director's job. Don't worry about events.
It's the marketing director. Yeah, they can do that. So I guess my thoughts are really like, as an organization, you should generally be describing the work environment, not the demographic characteristics of the people in it. I've actually never seen this before. And again, I'm going to keep hammering this, written by a third-party recruitment company, unless it was written by the firm itself, and then they handed it to the recruitment company for like a final overview, and then they posted it without reviewing it. But like, I actually am concerned that there are some legal, like discriminatory risks happening here.
In California, you have to worry about that a lot more than other states. California is by far, New York too. New York and California are by far they have the strictest regimes for this stuff. So I would kind of echo your concerns.
This is it. And say someone who happens to be, I don't know, 61 years old applies for this job and has the qualifications and has the bubbly personality, like doesn't get it. They could say, well, here's the reason why I didn't get this job, because it's clearly targeting young people. So yeah, are there discriminatory risks? Is it flat out illegal? So,
and in an environment in the US that is very very friendly towards suing as a solution to all of life's problems, that's much more of a concern than it would be in other countries.
For sure. So to me, like if you want to, like, guidance, I guess, for the job poster, which I don't want to like give them any guidance, but I think just a word of caution for anyone with job ads, like writing these job ads, if you want to describe, if you wanted to get around this and say you wanted to hire someone who was younger, but you didn't want to flat out go and say it, well, you could just use language like collaborative, like, well, older people can be collaborative, but like there's a way to use the language to tell someone what it's like to work there, right? So what is the purpose of including this? This is what I just can't understand. Like, what are they trying to do? It's quite nefarious, if you ask me. Like, I don't think that this is just like a slip up. I think adding the gender of the incumbent is on purpose. I think things like bubbly personality is on purpose. I think saying younger office is on purpose. And it's like straight up grotesque, in my opinion.
Well, this job ad does a fantastic job of telling candidates what it's going to be like to work there.
Oh,
it does.
This is the whole point of our podcast,
gross.
right? Like the story behind the bullet points, it's absolutely that. Like what's interesting is that it's actually, to me, it's describing two jobs, this job posting. One is administrative. So you're like managing calendars, answering the phone. The other is an emotional labor type job. So making people feel welcome, creating positive atmosphere. But only one of those jobs is like explicitly acknowledged within the job posting. So that's what I find really interesting. There are two parallel job postings happening, job descriptions happening in one job posting, but we're also not done yet. So let's go to schedule and work environment. Full-time in-office position located in Indian Wells, California, approximately 4 evening seminar events per month. Team of 6 employees, 6 employees in a collaborative office environment, fast-paced office with consistent client interaction throughout the day, work hard, play hard culture with team lunches, happy hours, outings, and company trips. Gonna stop there.
Yeah, that's gonna go well.
What are your thoughts on schedule and work environment?
Well, I mean, for this job, someone who's the receptionist who's managing the front office, it's got to be an office. Like this is not a remote job for sure. Like so no qualms on that one. 4 seminars per month in the evening, it's going to be business development activities. If these folks are wealth managers and they're on the lookout for high net worth individuals to invest or to transfer the assets over so that they can manage them or whatever, that's going to be one of your big business development activities, holding those seminars. Like that's a BD tactic that's been in this industry and other industries like since time began. It's a common thing. Having the DFI at those does signal something, though. It signals that you want the people with the money to see the pretty person that you've hired to work behind your front desk because you want to give all of them a good first impression. I don't like that, but I think I'm on the record at this point of not really digging this whole thing to start with. Work hard, play hard. Yeah, I mean, that's language coding that's pretty common in the finance industry. Like it's problematic. It's basically saying that like an under the table cultural expectation of being a part of this organization is that you go out drinking with your coworkers and with clients. And that also kind of ties into this DFI thing that I really don't like. Structurally, this cultural expectation is someday going to get this firm in hot water because something untoward is going to happen with someone and it'll be a problem. I'm sure that you can see that too from a mile away. Like this will happen one day, and it's because they created the expectation structurally at the very start with this job ad and what they're writing in it. They're going to get in hot water someday. Maybe it'll be this person, maybe it'll be the next person that fills this role. Who knows?
Absolutely. Like this is just a harassment claim waiting to happen. I want to also highlight though, like when they say approximately 4 evening seminar events per month, that is 4 evenings per month is once a week.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Like,
Or 2x a week. Yeah.
that is
Or a weekend.
a material scheduling consideration for people. Not to mention like the happy hours, the outings, the company trips. So basically, work hard, play hard is like long hours, intense environment, high performance expectations. But don't worry, it's offset with all of these activities, which, by the way, also require you to spend even more time at work, right? Like
Yeah. Probably should have been described as play while you work. That's really more what it is.
yeah. And like, yeah, company trips, well, like with whom? Don Draper? Like, what in the Mad Men is happening here? And yeah, from like my human resources lens, like this shouldn't have even gotten out the door. Like this sounds like someone's fantasy, not a job posting. And so this is where I go back to the recruitment firm who's working with this company to give them a big like, what the fuck is happening here? It's not good. Then the rest goes into why join our company. Our client continues to grow rapidly. Yada yada yada. I don't think it really matters. Looking for someone who wants more than just a job. They want someone excited about building a long-term career within the organization. And then it says how to apply. To learn more or apply, please submit your resume for consideration. And that's it.
Okay, so we've got no accessibility statement, we've got no inclusion statement, none of that, which is, well, maybe California has some carve-outs for size of firm like we do in Ontario. But there, if I recall, in California law, you need to have an accessibility and inclusion statement on your job ads. There's also stuff with the AODA, I think, that applies that they haven't done. And there's no salary range listed.
There's no salary listed. So in California, they do have salary pay transparency acts. However, I think it's triggered at 15 employees. And so they list 6, but they also just list 6 they say in office, like in office team members. So who knows if there are more working remotely. Regardless, you're legally required at 15. You have 6 employees and you're not just gonna, it's a difference of 9. You're not just going to post the salary. Just post the salary. Like, again, why are companies waiting to be forced to do so instead of just posting the salary?
Well, with this one, my spidey sense tells me that it's so that they can like squeeze salary down and lowball. Because let's talk about the factors that kind of feed into salary for this job. It's a low barrier to entry, like you said. The number of people who will match their requirements for preferred experience, it's a big pool. So on the labor market side, you don't have supply and demand constraints that are going to be pushing the salary up. Tons of people to choose from. They're looking for somebody young, and they're looking for somebody, even though they haven't said it out loud, like they're looking for somebody female. Through the language that they've used, like, yeah, that's what they're looking for. So young, female, low barrier to entry, and not a whole lot of specialist experience needed. That means the salary is going to start low in the grand scheme of things to start with. And by not posting the salary, they're going to be able to negotiate and play candidates off one another. And when they ask for it, I'm sure that through their application process, they have something that whether it's in like the application portal or whether it's in the screening call, what's your expected salary? How much money do you want to make? So it's going to get into this game of like candidates are going to feel really pressured to lowball themselves to get an interview, and then they'll be able to further take that and say, well, you know what? Somebody else wants 15% less than you. Will you take 15% less than you? Will do stuff like that, which is just exploitive. I don't like it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're also looking for one more thing, and that's someone who, and maybe it's a little bit more subtle than the other, like huge, glaring, obvious things, but it feels like they're looking for someone who doesn't yet or does not have a family, because of that whole work hard, play hard, happy hour, work trips, like 4 evenings a month.
Evenings.
Like, yeah, I think there are a lot of things that kind of signal to family status as well, which is another discriminatory practice.
Someone with family obligations is going to have a really, really hard time with this job. Somebody with a friggin' dog is going to have a really hard time with this job. Like, who's going to walk Fifi and Fufu? Oh, we know somebody in Collingwood who might. Little throwback joke to a job ad that we roasted probably 2 months ago at this point for a dog walker. But yeah, if you have pets that require some care, this is probably going to be a struggle for you too. Like the evenings, weekends, work trips thing, definitely a certain kind of person who's going to be able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, you know, we can't guess the salary, but the next thing we're going to do is rate the job ad. And so we give 2 ratings, both out of 10. One is on the job ad itself, how it's written, the format, whether or not it flows and makes sense. And then the other rating is for the job design. So like, is this a good job? Is it sustainable? Is it, does the structure, reporting structure make sense? And all of those other things. And so I'm going to finally share the full job posting to Paul, although, like I said, I read the entire thing. And
I'll give it a skim through.
Yeah, just do another skim. And then, yeah, we'll have a little intermission. She did that growth trajectory at one organization, but it doesn't show a varied or diverse experience beyond what it's like working at that one organization. And when it's a small organization, like 6-12 people, it doesn't actually say much about you. And, you know, it just, I guess we kind of just know that small orgs are more likely to do that. And it doesn't really prove that you're capable to do this job that you're applying for now. So that's what I'm trying to say. Welcome back. Paul, I spoke
it's even more destructive and damaging to the individual person, that thing, with this background context of ATS systems and AI systems being used to look through people's stuff and be like, all right, let's look for keywords. So if you've gone from receptionist or DFI up to vice president, and then you're out of a job, you're looking for another job, and you apply for, you know, like a mid-senior level job, like a manager or director job, and the system sees vice president in your resume, is that going to screen you out algorithmically before you even get to a human? Maybe yes.
And say this person who went from director of first impressions to director of marketing is out looking for a job. They could very well be really suited for maybe a marketing manager role, with a really good salary too. But like you said, because of that title inflation, like they're going to be screened out as like overqualified or whatever, when first of all, I guarantee you they're not overqualified. If anything, they're underqualified. No offense to them, but yeah, and then they're just going to keep getting screened out of opportunities that might be suitable for them. But anyway,
title and salary only loosely correlate in the job market, like the broad job market. You can look for, I saw when I was doing a review the other day of things for upcoming episodes for the show, I ran across a job ad for a manager of analytics role at a very, very large biotech company. And the salary was the salary range that they posted was 135,000 to 160,000 CAD. And this is a manager level job, right? Then you go into another organization and a manager level job, looking at analytics and looking at, you know, like business analytics, data, marketing, whatever. Your salary could be between 55 and 65. Right. So like it's only a very loose correlation between title and salary.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So let's do this. Let's do our ratings for the job ad. Paul, you go ahead. The job, the way it was written, the format, all of that stuff. What
Yeah. So putting on my job writing kind of hat, I would give this a 4. It's well structured. It does communicate what they're looking for in a very cogent, clear kind of way. So it's got that going for it. There are no grammatical errors. There's no like syntax stuff. There's nothing that's misspelled, with the exception of the sometimes debates versus American English and English everywhere else, where there's missing U's and missing L's and whatnot. American position, obviously, they're using American English spelling, so whatever, fine. What they are communicating, though, in their writing, I find deeply problematic still. A couple of things that stood out for me. I wonder, after having read the job ad, gone through it, I actually wonder if the agency did add some of its own stuff in here, because there is a little bit of duplication. They talk about what we're looking for, and they list out 5 or 6 bullet points in there that kind of describe the candidate. Then further down, they have what success looks like, and successful individuals in this role are, and then another 5, 6 bullet points. Those two things are the same. They're the same.
Yeah.
Like you're saying,
I noticed that
we're
too.
looking for this. Like it's irrelevant duplication. So yeah, I wonder if the agency kind of put in some of their own stuff. Like you had said, maybe the client just kind of handed this to them and said, use this. And the agency was like, we better add some stuff. They should have deleted and rewritten a lot of stuff, but they didn't. So yeah, 4 out of 10 for this. Well written, but what they communicate, not great. Ad design, job ad design, or role design, I should say. The design of the job role. 1 out of 10. 0.5 out of 10. And maybe that score is colored a little bit from my disdain for this whole thing. But if we look at what they're saying in the job ad structurally about this job, about how the role is going to unfold, they're saying you need to be a certain person and their characteristics. And structurally, we kind of talked about some of the problems that will likely come up because of that. You're saying, 5 days in office, fair, okay. You're saying 4 evenings, basically, every week, 1 evening, you're going to be at a seminar. So that's extra time that I doubt there's going to be overtime for something like that. And I also doubt that it's going to be compensated fairly. We don't know because they don't list a salary range, but I really doubt that there's going to be fair compensation for that extra time. They're also saying work trips. So that's going to be presumably weekends, at least once in a while, maybe full week retreat type stuff. Who knows? But then you get into the details of what this person is doing. And this job role design actually blends 3 jobs together. And they're kind of complementary. So maybe it will work if the volume of like work is actually kind of low for each one. But they're looking for someone who is a receptionist. That's very clearly kind of outlined. They're looking for those characteristics, someone to do that job. They're looking for someone who is kind of an assistant, because it says you will manage the calendar of certain people in the organization. So right there, you're into assistant territory. And having a receptionist and kind of an assistant, those two things, they kind of fit together okay in smaller organizations. But you're also signaling that you want someone who is kind of a sales qualifier, right? Like you're saying you must have CRM experience. Like they're signaling pretty clearly to me that this person is going to be a part of the sales pipeline, insofar as like picking up the phone, which they say you need to be able to pick up the phone, insofar as that whole thing goes. So like you have multiple different jobs that are blending together. Plus, you've got all of those extras that are expected of you. That's not a recipe for sustainability and resilience and success long term. They probably do need someone who is very young, because someone who is like been around the block and actually wants personal time is going to find this job infuriating. And they're probably going to say, bugger it, see you later, after not too long. Whereas someone who's fresh out of university, maybe had a year somewhere else, maybe they'll put up with it a little bit longer. Yeah, 1 out of 10. I don't dig it at all.
Yeah. I would say, like, so for me, the ratings, job posting itself, like, look, there's such problematic language, but I'm going to try to look at this at what does the job posting include that we usually don't get the opportunity to see? And so it does talk about things like why this job exists, and it's because somebody is moving on within the organization. Like I said, the origin story, we like that, so that's good. They talk about what you'll do, and they actually list tasks that you will be doing day to day. They talk about what success looks like, which again is really more about your personality than anything. They're honest about the workload. They're being pretty honest that it's going to be, a lot. They share that schedule, because I would be pissed if I got this job and found out after the fact that I was expected to have like 4 evenings a month at these events. So they're honest about that. They talk about like work trips and stuff, so to bring your bear spray with you when you go on a work trip with your CEO. So
is it for the bears, or is it for somebody you work with?
women always choose the bear in that situation, but anyway, so there are some things that actually make sense, that are better than other job ads that we have seen, if I'm being honest, if you strip away like all the language and stuff. But they're not listing like salary or accommodation. They're not even saying like you must be able to lift however many pounds or need a vehicle or things like that. So it's not great in that sense. But even for that, I think just because I can't separate the language that they're using from the job ad, it still to me is like a 2. I mean, again, a participation award for putting pen to paper, I guess. And then the job design too, same thing, like you said, like the title is wild to me. It's wacky. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't say who you're reporting to, so we can't quite understand the full structure of that. Maybe you're reporting to that director of marketing, who knows? But like, mention a little bit more. Who you report to has a huge impact on whether or not the role will be sustainable and what your experience is going to be like. And so, yeah,
and what your pathway is going to be like too, right? Like your growth pathway.
Exactly. So again, I mentioned this earlier, but I think it's like 2 parallel. There's like the job itself, and then there's like the emotional labor job that you're going to have to do. And I like straight up, frankly, am worried for the individual who gets this job. And so for me, it's a huge miss. I actually disagree. I think that maybe someone would stay long-term and not peace out after a few months, because we see that with the now director of marketing, right? Like they transitioned into a different role in the organization, but maybe that was an escape hatch to get out of this role. Who knows? So I think for me, it's like a 0 out of 10 for the job design itself. I feel very angry that they minimized and shamed administrative work in the way that they did. And then they proceeded to just list an administrative job. Not your typical average admin job, but yet, yes, it is. And so, yeah, to me, it's super low, like a 0. But I do think that, if my cell phone is ringing and I need my son to answer it for me, I will say, hey, Seb, can you answer using a live answer approach from here? It's going to be my biggest takeaway, the best thing that I got from this job ad. So,
they also didn't talk about desired outcomes in this, right? Like they talked about what success looks like. They talked about characteristics that they want, and then some of them, like you can kind of draw a dotted line between those desired characteristics and the purpose for the larger business. But they could have done a whole lot more on that front. I almost want to rewrite this job ad and we should maybe do a case study or something and be like, this is the original thing that was this is what it should have looked like.
That's actually a really good idea. I would like to see how maybe we could redesign this job ad to be a little bit less like heinous.
It bothers me so much, this one. Oh.
I know, and which is why it was like such a good one. So just before we hop off and end this live, thank you to everyone who joined. It's so much fun reading your comments and having your energy there. Like, it's just, yeah, I still get super nervous about it, but everyone is just so engaged and warm to us, so we really appreciate it. I want to remind people that we are always looking for people to come on and judge a job ad with us. So if you're ever interested in being a special guest, you have a certain area of expertise or a sector that you're really familiar with, or just want to have a good time, let us know. And if you have a job ad that you want us to roast, please let us know. So yeah, thank you.
Hit up our Substack, roastthepost.show. There are links up top for both of those. If you want to join us on the show as a guest, we do that once a month. There's a little thing in there that's just like, tell us about yourself. And same thing with job ads. If you find a crazy job ad, hit up the other link and copy and paste the job ad in there so we can look at it before it goes down, because some of these disappear. And that's like, I found one that was awesome that would have made a great episode. It was for a quality test engineer, and it was just mad, but disappeared.
I know that happens too sometimes, where someone has a look at it and they're like, oh, we got to get rid of this. So yeah, absolutely. And to me, this personally was like one of our, like, it was just so much fun. This was a really fun one. So thank you, everyone.
It was a good find.
I think we can consider this post roasted.
Thanks for joining us on Roast the Post, the story behind the bullet points. If today's breakdown made job postings just a little easier to understand, or at least a little less painful, mash that old subscribe button. We're on YouTube and all the major podcast apps, so follow us wherever you like to listen. And if you spot a posting that feels off, confusing, oddly ambitious, or just plain entertaining, send it our way. We love digging into real examples from real people. Link in the show notes for more. We'll see you on the other side of the mulberry bush with another post to roast next week.